Hey again, everybody. This is Jason with On the Play Games, OTPG for short. Be sure to take a moment and like and subscribe our channel. It's brand new, so it needs all the likes and subscribes that it can get. We just finished doing box 1 of case number 2, and we got 5 legendaries up here. Probably out of those, the hottest one is going to be that. Now there are 2 of them, followed by probably Darth Maul, and then of course Cad Bane is holding some pretty good value. It's right around 20 bucks-ish, something like that. And then these were some of the rares that I pulled out that I thought were, decent ones. Of course, the rare bases, everybody knows those. And we're really upset about the fact that FFG decided to put these in a rare slot. I don't know why they thought that that was something that would be player friendly or even enjoyable to the community to find one of those in the rare slot, but they decided to do that, and that's what we're going to go with because that's what they made us go with. And then it seems that Mr. Bones may be the new, I'm seeing him a lot. I was going to say he's like the new Maul, but he's not legendary. So I cracked a lot of Mauls from the from set 2. Just a ton of Mauls. And then, of course, we have these here. Some more of our rares. Maybe the Mace Windu lightsaber might be the best of them. There's a little combo that I was talking about last video with this one in Chancellor Palpatine. If you can figure out a way to make double cunning work with a card that's out of aspect. Maybe you play this out of aspect. It costs 6, and drop this in behind Chancellor Palpatine, and all you gotta do is have 1 token, and you can just keep attacking, as far as I understand on the comprehensive rules. I will definitely be looking into that to see if that holds true. I can see an argument why it doesn't. It might only apply to the units that are in play at the time that happens, but it does say for this phase. And every time I play a unit, it's a friendly unit, so for this phase, it should pick that up. And so if you can make this Chancellor Palpatine that and a couple of Republic clone troopers stick around, you could pretty much just close the game out right there. Because you just keep ramming it into all their creatures, all their units, kill all their units off the board. Anything that's Sentinel, just keep slinging things at it, and eventually you have more than they do, and you keep right on moving along. But yeah, 28 rares and legendaries, 5 of those being legendaries. Not a terrible box as far as the legendary pulls, but again, I don't know. This was a pretty good box. I'll give this one the props, especially with the hyperspace here. Now there are 2 of them, the Cad Bane and the Darth Maul. Man, I can't wait to open up a hyperspace full of that guy. Oh my, it's gonna look gorgeous. I just love that. That's my favorite lightsaber of all the lightsabers. 110%. And anybody who saw me for my Halloween costume knows I went just a little bit wild on the Star Wars theme for my outfit. So anyway, we're getting ready to crack open box number 2 out of case 2, and that'll be the end of tonight's box openings. We'll do another 2 boxes tomorrow, and then that'll take us into Thursday. So maybe I might do a 3rd box today and 3 boxes tomorrow. But each video is being released separately, so it's just a nice quick watch. So if you get a chance, like I said, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Any kind of comments on the way I mispronounce things, or rules that I discussed that don't make sense, or if I say a wrong word, feel free, hammer away. I'm a grown man, I can handle it. And if you got anything nice to say, that's a wonderful thing here too. And the most wonderful comment you can give me is a like and a subscribe, because we are going to be bringing content and even gameplay here pretty soon to the channel. and just kind of making it happen. All right, so everything looks like it's good to go as far as the camera goes. Last night we had the lights go out on us midway through a pack that I opened up the General Grievous hyperspace foil, and so that was sad that it was in the dark. So I've kind of changed the lighting a little bit. I hope it's bright enough. It looks like it might be bright enough. Maybe in editing, post-editing, I can work on bringing up the exposure on the video, and that might bring a little light for us to take a look at. So let's flip this one over. We're still looking for our first showcase out of 2 cases. This would, if I fail to get a showcase out of these 2 cases, William, first of all, up at Myrtle Beach Games, I'm coming for you. Jokingly, of course. But it will be the first time that I've bought 2 cases or 12 boxes with the cards and not gotten a showcase, which might be telling of something. So anyone who's watched our me crack open boxes before, I like to take our rares and legendaries of any type, hyperspace or not, put them right there. I take our regular foils and I sit them in a little pile here, and then any hyperspace card that is not a rare or legendary, whether it's foiled or not, will end up in a pile right there. So just be on the lookout for that as we organize these cards. I'm hoping to have everything inventoried and ready for trades mostly, especially this first weekend to second weekend. I need to make sure that my sets are put together for myself. I just do basic because I play the cards and I'm rough with them, so I don't, I'm not a person who likes to play with the foils because I beat them up a little too hard. And you know, players that take better care of their cards, they deserve to have those cards, to be honest with you. The hyperspace foils and all that good stuff. Plus, you know, you got the players out there that are doing those master sets, and you got to fill a slot in. What a difference this card looks like in hyperspace foil. I cracked one out of the first box from case 2, the last video we did, and it is gorgeous. And then I look at this, and it's like, not that great. Just your regular old card art, nothing fancy. But in hyperspace foil, wow. And of course, they gave us a rare land. And then another upside down foil. Again, go back to one of my videos. I think it was box 6 out of case 1. I think we were 3 or 4 packs into it, so it's a quick look. You only maybe 5 minutes into the video, and we opened up the pack. Didn't even have a foil in the slot. I didn't count the cards to see if I was just short a card, so I didn't do that. I probably should have to see if it was just missing a card in the pack, but it just shows you there is some problems with the mapping on these packs. As you open more, it becomes more and more apparent that there's something going on. But anyway, Sly Moore, take control of an enemy unit and ready it. At the start of the regroup phase, take that token unit's owner takes control of it. Take control of the enemy token unit. You know what? I thought he was bad to start with. And then I was like, oh, maybe he might not be that bad, because, like, hey, you can, you know, it's kind of like a change of heart, right? And that costs 6. This has got a body on it. But then now that I look at it a little further and I see that you're taking a token unit from your opponent, then I just think this is like one of the worst cards that you could possibly get in your rare spot. And I would not be surprised if I don't sell a single one of those, or even trade a single one of those, especially in the basic frame. Sabine, so we at least did get a double rare pack, so can't be too mad about that. And then our foil makes 3 rares out of this, and I do like the Clone Wars. And then this in full art, the hyperspace foil it's going to be beautiful. I can just tell from this one that would be gorgeous. So definitely not the worst pack in the world when you get 3 rares. Last box, remember we got 28 rares and legendaries. 5 of them were legendaries, so that was pretty good. Let's see if this box can even come close to keeping up with those numbers, because out of 24 packs, 28, so we were up at least 3, excuse me, at least 4, and you can do a little better than that. You can get close to 30, but it's not bad to be around 28. You know, I wouldn't want to be at 24 because I feel like I didn't get any value out of that extra card. But here we go again with Brain Invaders. This card's getting a lot of. There's some talk around this card. You know, each leader loses abilities except for epic actions and can't gain abilities. This turns off both sides of the leaders. So if you have a Sabine that is pinging away at your base and you drop this down, that Sabine does not ping anymore. It's only the epic action that is that it keeps. And that epic action is part of the flip of the leader. When you look at that leader, there's your epic action down here. All right, so it would lose this ability, keep this ability. All right, so you could turn it over and deploy it still, but then when you turn it over, it loses all these abilities, and it's just a 1/7. You know, so there's an example of how that card could be used to turn off some of the more broken leaders. Imagine putting that on the flip, putting this on the table while your opponent's playing the flip Chancellor Palpatine, Darth Sidious leader. It just doesn't flip anymore. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there, and you can't even flip it over into a unit later on. It just, there's no unit side to it. And this is the second one of these I've gotten in hyperspace foil. And like I said, if there's a deck that has a, you know, play my cards out, you deal with them, and then I bring them back out of the graveyard for additional triggers for entering play, attack, or when defeated, or what have you, it can really mess that. It has the potential, I should say, to mess up that type of deck strategy if that deck strategy were to become a dominant deck. You know, if it would to be able to establish itself in the meta, that card could see itself in any sideboard, which is kind of interesting that they did that as a colorless card. So, you know, keep your eyes out for it. Oh, I was so hoping that was going to be something else. And so, nothing real great there. We're just going to put her here and set that to the side. Everybody's trying to tell me that this card's so good on turn 1 because you can force throw. Here's the problem with that. Let's say I play this card. And I'm playing against like your standard set 2 Bulba. They can Cloud Rider into it. It's done. They could potentially play a card to the table, and then I kill their turn 1 play. That's not where I want to be. I don't want to have to kill your turn 1 play because my turn 1 play is this really weak. Really weak. I mean, imagine you play this against Cad Bane. It just is dead. There's nothing there. So I think this was a super fail. It should have been at least a 1/2, if not a 2/2 for 1. That would have an equal number of points of stats to a 3/1 Greedo, or you know, so, or any of the other 3/1s that are out there. Mr. Bones, you know, being an example of that too out of this set. Each friendly unit that was healed this phase gets +1/+1. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. It doesn't mean for every point that's healed. Now, if it said for each point that was healed, okay, now we might have a card that's worth playing. But that's my little spiel on that card. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am and how wonderful it is, and how all you got to do is have 4 throw in the deck, or you know, draw 9 cards to start the game with to make it just that good. But yeah, upside down card. Oh, this is intriguing, y'all. We're gonna. Oh man, it still wasn't uncommon. So these, wow, the packaging on this second case has been interesting as I kind of look through it all and kind of take in the fact that they're upside down cards. There's face down cards. There's packs that didn't have a rare, a foil in them at all. And yeah, just very interesting packaging. And I still think the mapping is a little off. As I'm looking at the distribution of the rares and the distribution of the legendaries, I feel like certain ones are kind of popping up a little bit more than others. And when, at the end of all this, we'll probably pull together all the cards from both cases. I'm holding all the cards from case number 1 over here. I'm putting all the cards from case number 2 over here, so we can do like a little bit of an analysis and kind of look at what total values there were to be had, and if it was worth it. I have the high ground. Definitely don't have the high price. It's not a high dollar card at all. And that was upside down again. So we keep seeing the foils in this particular case be almost all upside down. Now this one, it's not going to be, right? I hope not. Ooh, that might be the one I actually play. I've been looking for just a regular old hyperspace version of him, but you let me get a hold of him with the showcase, and I will have been a happy camper in all of this, because this, I just love this. This is such a cool leader. Just the concept of it, and I really want to see what it looks like in hyperspace foil. If they foil it on both sides, or showcase them, excuse me, how that's going to look. Anyway, another one of those, and regular foil. I think we're getting at pack number 7 now. Looks like we're kind of close to half the box, so I might be a little bit past number 8. Oh, please, please, please let me see that in one of these boxes as a showcase, and just make my day, FFG. Come on. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes, you know what I mean? This guy, Raid 2, he's a 6 cost. He's got a 8 butt on attack, 1 damage to an enemy unit. He has the ability to kill Poe Dameron, and that's kind of the card that I use to judge a 6-drop. I put it up against Poe Dameron. It better be able to kill Poe Dameron, and this one kills Poe Dameron and lives, and it's ECLable. I know Poe Dameron's a 5-drop, where Wrecker would come in, but even Wrecker can't kill this outright. You've got to ECL into it in addition to doing the 5 points of damage to it. Yeah, could be better, could be worse. Another upside down card, Destructive Burst. Give each enemy unit -1/-1 for this phase. A lot of people say this is just like a nice token wiper, but think about it. Every unit they have, -1/-1. When you do that, the combat math gets a little bit interesting. And yeah, that it can be an interesting card to have in the sideboard for Vigilance aspect deck. Still failing to find a showcase as we continue on. By the way, big shout out to our 2 participating shops that were part of the Hyperdrive to the Planetary Qualifier event series that we ran in August and September, leading up to the October Hyperdrive. It was a lot of fun, and I think it was, it wasn't lucrative for the shops with the turnout that we had at both shops. We had a decent turnout for the Xynergy game event. There was 14 players or so for that one. So that one I feel definitely broke even for the cash prize part of the prize pool, and I'm pretty sure it broke even with the additional box of set 1 that Xenergy Gamers added to the prize board. Just out of nowhere, just here you go, guys. We're going to throw this in, and I might even be recalling they threw in some participation packs. OTPG also did what we call the Deck of the Force, which basically I just took picked out a really nice hyperspace foil legendary and one rare, and the rest of the 20 cards that make up the deck were commons and uncommons. And you basically you call a number, I draw that many cards on top of it, flip over the number you called, and bam, whatever that card is yours. We will continue to do that for the next season at the Hyperdrive events. For those that don't make the either top 4 or top 8 cuts, if you don't make it to the final rounds of single elimination, the next 8 players outside of the final elimination rounds will get to take a pull out of the Deck of the Force, or Deck of the Mysterious Forces, is I think what I want to go with. Deck of the Mysterious Forces. I like that one. That's our trademark. We're taking that one. There was a double rare pack. Not the greatest rares, but definitely a double rare pack. So, yeah, we're going to continue doing that. That was fun. You know, everybody had a little chance to get something. It was mysterious, and you never knew what you might pull. And this go around, we didn't have anybody actually take a legendary or rare out of the deck, but they were in there, and I'm hoping in our next 2 events that we do, if not 3 events, if we bring in a 3rd shop, we will be hopefully having a winner. Something for you to, it's just something to give you a reason to play that last round, even if you're not locked in, or even if you're not playing for a win and in. All you're really doing is trying to, let's say we get a top 8, you're just trying to get top 16. Gives you a chance, you know. Guerrilla Tactics, I think this card is underrated right now. I think if you pair it with a green deck, so where you can get to 8 resources on turn 6, or if you don't and you get to turn 7, a lot of times, especially if you're playing units and trading, you know, back and forth, and removals, you know, 1 for 1 and back and forth, you'll get to a point where you're at, you know, nearing your 8 resources, and you're top decking. You're pulling off the top of your deck. So, you know, resource a card, throw this at your opponent. If you got the initiative, it basically is a pillage plus a board wipe, and they go down a resource. And you go down a resource as well, but the 4 damage to each ground unit, it hits everybody's ground unit. So just remember that. You want to be in the air, or you just want to be a straight control red deck, which takes me back to maybe the idea of Bosk Blue being a thing that could be using that card as card advantage when you knock the cards out of their hand, and also being able to clear a board that you might otherwise not clear. Plus, don't forget, you got at least 2 strong ways of bringing cards out of the graveyard, and after you've discarded them, so you could be setting yourself up for your own little reanimation thing. And what was the one that we were talking about? Last one was on attack, I think it said, or on play, take a card. Oh, it was 5s. So imagine, like, you discard 2 clones or a clone, and then you put that clone on the bottom of your deck, and you draw a card. So now you're back up a card. So there could be something there. I haven't given up on that card just yet. Of course, I'm sure I'll be proven wrong. When it comes to game theory, I can't really claim to be the best. But when it comes to recognizing a terrible card, I do not like that card. That card just does not have the love of the OTPG team. At my soul, it just feels bad. It does have a rebel tag on it though, so do remember that. And it is a turn 1 play, so it couldn't attack 4 or 5 with a fleet lieutenant behind it. That's not, you know, that's right there on tempo. And if you somehow defeated an enemy unit this phase, it could hit for 6. Yeah, but you got to defeat an enemy unit to get that thing to be at least a 4/2. And it's just sad that it's got a 2 backside. It could have been better. So anyway, we got ourselves a Kit Fisto. Again, this card I talked about in an earlier video, and I made an error when I spoke. Because I was speaking about how good this card is, because it's a 6-drop, it could be ECL'd, it's only single aggression. And one of the great things about this card, if you ECL it, and you have coordinate, you basically do 10 points of damage to whatever unit it's attacking, which is crate dragon damage. I mean, that's you're talking about a card that can one-shot a crate dragon. And the way you would do it is you would ECL it out, resolve the ambush first because you're the active player, and then it on the attack trigger happens, so that resolves, do 3 points of damage to the crate dragon. This guy then hits for 6, then the crate dragon's trigger goes off, and it can either kill one of your other units to take away the ability to coordinate later, or just go ahead and do 6 to the base, which is probably where they're going to put it, to be honest with you. But you can, because you're the active player, get it where it hits for 10 damage. And that's for crate dragons. It kills Poe Dameron outright. It kills Wrecker outright. It kills Maul. It is, you know, for a 6-drop, it kills so many strong, aggressive cards and cards that are above it on the curve. You just got to get that coordinate. You got to turn that on, which a lot of us, I think, realized in our play of Sealed that coordinate's not that hard to turn on in this game. You know, everybody was thinking this might be hard to do, and it turns out that it's actually pretty easy to do. Speaking of 5s, there he is. You may put a clone unit from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck if you do draw a card. So I'm thinking Aggression Cunning, and, you know, just play a Pox deck. Let me look at that card one more time. Let's see what it it'd be 4 damage to each ground unit, so this guy would survive. Yeah, Gorilla does 4 damage each. He would survive. You discard 2 cards. You're playing an event. You're the active player, so you can stack his trigger to the 2 cards. You put one on the bottom of the deck, draw a card. So, I don't know. There might be something there. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure, was it KTOD and that team? I'm sure they'll show us how to do it, or at least play around with it. Or also Veiled Shot on YouTube is another great content creator. I like the cut of that guy's jib. He does it right, and he keeps a nice little tempo to things. It's not boring, and he definitely has some interesting. I got a feeling that card is upside down again. He has some interesting deck ideas that he tries out. He throws some things. It is definitely upside down. He throws some things around and checks out some different cards, and he's a solid player. He's got his own Discord. He has a Patreon, which has got a free to join option, and then a couple of different levels that you can choose to be a part of. I haven't pulled the trigger on that, but you know what? I may join the man's Patreon. He puts out content almost every single day, and when you're doing that with this game, that is hard to do. It is hard to have that kind of schedule, and I know he does his TCG player shop, and maybe that's the only job he has outside of content creating. But I've got a 40-hour 9 to 5 kind of jam, and it's hard to stick with the kind of run at these these videos, and just even writing the commentary for the hyperdrive events, you know, which was something different. Like nobody else was really writing commentary about the events. They're mostly just doing videos. So I do want to thank every single one of you that liked or shared or, you know, anything with the write-ups on the Play Games on the Facebook page, shared with our different communities, and anybody that took the time, which some people definitely did take the time when we were talking about the finals of the planetary qualifier, which is something that's pretty interesting. Because, okay, so Xynergy Gamers, Goose Creek, Charleston area, Myrtle Beach, Comiston Games, Myrtle Beach out of Socastee. We ran the planetary, the hyperdrive to the planetary event series, right? That planetary qualifier, another upside down card. That planetary qualifier had 88 players. We had somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 to 13 players that had participated or were from the were from the shops, but had participated in the hyperdrive events. So we were like 12% of the player base for that planetary qualifier. Then we had 2 players that were in our top 4 finalists in the events. One was William Hannon from Myrtle Beach Games. The other one was Will. Oh, I'm sorry, Will, I can't remember your last name. But he was from the Columbia area. He came down to the Charleston area to Goose Creek to knock us around with his Boba Fett. And he literally was like, I just put this together on the way to Charleston. And he made it to the final 4 out of 14 players. So kudos to him for that. They both made it to the top 8 of the planetary qualifier. And I think that just is awesome. So that means out of the top 8, we had 25% of the top 8 were hyperdrive event series single elimination round players. And then the top 4, William Hannon made it to. So we had 25% of the top 4 as well. And that is as far as we could represent, because Ray Red decided that they just wanted to, you know, kind of show us why Boba Fett might not be necessarily the threat that everybody thinks that it is. One of the things about Boba Fett, his leader, is everybody wants to ban him. You know, ban him. He's the best leader. He's got the highest win rates. He also has some of the highest turnouts in the meta as well. And that's not an accident. I mean, we were talking about a set 1 leader that lots of players had bought into set 1 and had the leader and were playing it, and they just added to Boba Fett with Boba Fett's armor and so forth. And so Boba Fett just became a very good and very common deck. Sabine, again, set 1 leader, very common deck to see in the meta. It had been around. All you had to do was just pick up, like, you know, Wrecker and Poe, and you basically updated your deck. With Boba Fett, you picked up the Boba Fett's armor. Maybe you went with like the Zuckuss combo there. Some like didn't even bother with that. The green Boba Fett just picked up Mauls, basically, and McClunky, and Salacious Crumb. You know, all easy to pick up cards. I mean, I think Maul's gone for $5 at one point. It might still be that low as things have moved on. But you know, you'd spend like $15 and you can update your Boba Fett deck to whatever you wanted it to be. Also, I don't want to forget what's the girl's name? Sabine Natal. Also, very inexpensive card to pick up, and you've updated your deck. And that's one of the great things about this game, right? You know, you could take a deck that you already have, spend like $20 to $40 updating it. At least this was a trend from set 1 to set 2. And that deck is still viable in the format, still very powerful, and you dropped 20 bucks, you dropped 40 bucks. Like you didn't even spend as much as a box to upgrade these decks. So why would there be this huge amount of variety of all these other decks from set 2? I mean, sure, we had our Han 2, which did really well. We had Ray Red, which I think Ray was set 2. If I'm mistaken, you know, please put it in the comments. We had Bosk, you know, popping up. You know, we did have some set 2 leaders that were able to break into the meta, but it was the first time people were playing with them. You know, so you know, when you fall back and you look at the most played decks that are at these planetary qualifiers, the most played leaders were your Boba Fett's by far, your Sabine, second place by far, and then you started getting in like your Han Yellow and then the set 2 leaders. So it doesn't surprise me that right now Boba Fett is you know, perceived to be this awful threat, because he is played that much. I started with Boba Fett. It was my first leader that I played. I started with Boba Fett because I've always been a Boba Fett fan. You know, always been a fan of the jetpack guy that had one line and and then died. But you know, just it doesn't surprise me. Merciless contest. Be prepared for this to hit any hard controlled deck that stays away from units. It just really is that good of a card. It's basically another Power of the Dark Side. You know, so it's going to be able to control Sabine. You know, turn 1, they put out a unit, claim initiative. Turn 2, it's dead. They put another unit out. You claim initiative. Power of the Dark Side. They put another unit out. You claim initiative. You got 6 of these guys. You know, 6 3-drop basically Power of the Dark Sides in your deck, which is I think this set is giving a lot to control-oriented decks. Well, if you can get an official deck together, that card could be pretty good. There's a pretty card. Now, it's just a common, but you know, very nice artwork. All right, we got. I think I'm looking at 3 packs, and wow, guys, I have not seen one card come out of this set that made me go ooh. So that is something to think about. Now that could have made me go ooh, but it made me go aw instead. And yeah, we're moving right along. That's a very cool foil art. If that was like hyperspace foil, that would look really great. But Aid from the Innocent. So the top cards are either for 2 non-unit cards and discard them. 2 heroic non-unit cards. That's the key. 2 heroic non-unit cards. That cost, you know, so you can play them for free, and you're still paying more than the 2. So yeah, everything about that card is backwards and limited and just like restricted to the point where it's probably unplayable. Like I don't think I would sleeve that up in a 50 card deck and go head to head with anybody. Feels like a pretty big loss. And then you got to set your deck up to where you have these non-heroic units cards that you're trying to go at. For a second there, I almost thought we had one. I felt my heart take a jump because having the showcase Anakin would be pretty rewarding, to be honest with you. So a fine addition. If an enemy unit was defeated this phase, play an upgrade from your hand or a player's discard pile, ignoring its aspect penalties. You still have to pay for it. I would say that is probably in the not going to play it pile when it comes to the rares. That's one thing about this set. I will say there is a lot of slots that are in the rares, specifically the rares. Legendaries, for the most part, seem to be pretty good, but there are a lot of just absolutely worthless rares. And then, of course, you put the bases in the rare slot, and now you've got a set that could potentially just be underwhelming, just in general. Another card that's kind of underwhelming for 9. Give me Avenger all day long. And then Despondent Loyalist. It's not unique, so you can put a bunch of them out, but Overwhelm on a 2 power. What am I overwhelming again? Greedo? And it dies to Greedo? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking when they made that card. But that is box number 2 out of case 2. And let's just take a quick look and see how we did on legendaries. I don't think we did very well, to be honest with you. I don't remember seeing a whole bunch. I think this card is going to be a card that you definitely want to keep an eye out for, the Unnatural Life. It's a force card also. That can be a thing. But the ability to bring back units that were, I mean, it doesn't even say it has to be a force unit or anything like that. It just says any unit, costs 2 less. So the more units that we have that have, when you enter the battlefield, or enter play, excuse me, or when played, I think is the right phrasing, when defeated, on attack, those, you want to be looking for those combos. It doesn't work with ambush. Unfortunately, this is not a trigger that happens that you can then stack and flip around and like an ambush and ready. It just comes in ready. It's not like Fett's Fire Spray that says on play. But I keep thinking of like, oh, I ambush in with, let's say, Darth Vader. Get a guy. You crack back on my Darth Vader, kill it. Then I cast this on the next turn. I drop 1 resource into play, so I can pay that extra 1 cost that it's going to end up costing me. And I got another Vader going in, ambushing, putting another unit on the play, and just making things. We already talked about 5s. He's got potential. He definitely has potential, especially alongside this guerrilla tactics kind of idea that I'm kind of kicking around in the can. Consolidation of power, I just think that's a sucker's bet. You're taking a bunch of these things and you're putting them all into 1 unit. And now a control player just says, oh, how many did you sacrifice to get that 1 unit out? And then I also killed a unit. Oh, so I like at least 2 for 1, Jip. Or no, excuse me. Even if you just sacrificed 1 unit and played this card to put a card out, that's 3 cards you invested in getting that unit out. And we all know how quickly units can die. All right, so it better be one heck of a unit you're putting out there to justify the type of commitment and resources that you are putting into that play. So we got 3 legendaries. I think this one is hovering around $8 to $10. It is a force unit. I talked about it before that you know, like red Han, blue might want to play it, but then I started thinking Poe Dameron is going to be taking the place of Poe Dameron. So maybe Poe Dameron goes down to like a 2 of. It was one of the one of the cards that I had 3 of in my Red Han blue deck, and I did kind of feel like 2 Poe Damerons might have been okay to find a slot for something else. And then there is the fact that this thing would only cost 4 to come out. So Red Han Blue likes to put a lot of units on the board, and it can go really wide. And then later in the game, it can go like single cards doing multiple things and 2 for 1-ing. And this gives you 2 cards, so not bad. And this card I just never thought was great. You're going to sacrifice 3 units so you can ready 3 units so you can get +1/+1. Well, the overwhelm's a factor, but I got 6 units, 6 resources, sack 3 of them, play this card. I'm only getting 3 points of damage additional onto the board, and then I have to attack with each one of those units 1 at a time. Now, if it said an attack with these units, oh, totally different. I might actually feel like that was solid. But anyway, that's the end of box number 2 out of case 2. I think I am definitely going to go ahead and crack a 3rd box Might have to make some room on the phone, and that might delay it, but nonetheless, we got 3 legendaries, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. 27 total rare and legendaries, with 3 being legendary out of the box. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We are really trying to help out getting cards open, getting things out to the community. And remember, if you buy something from me and it's, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of like, you know, $10 or so or more, I can throw in uncommons. My uncommons, though, the freebies I toss in, I did need to make a clarification. It's going to be any kind of uncommon that's 50 cents or less. There are some uncommons out there that are like $3 or $4, so I'm not trying to give $9 worth of uncommons away with a $10 purchase. But if you spend $10 with me or more and you have some holes in your uncommons and commons, talk to me. I'd love to make your deck rounded out and get you the cards you need at any point in time. So again, cheers, and may the force be with you.